All right, I honestly was not going to do a YouTube video today. I was supposed to be at the coffee shop today, working on my new masterclass coming out with Chloe Hodgkinson, the period party girl on Instagram.
If you're struggling with rest days, here are my 3 top tips.
We're creating a masterclass that's coming out this August on body image and healing body image through recovery. And I was supposed to be focusing on that today. But then I got hit with this and was like, I've been wanting to do a video on this for such a long time. Today just seems like the perfect opportunity, as so many of you guys literally came into my DMs being like, did you see this, question mark? And I know that when you guys start sending me stuff in the DMs, it's like, yep, okay, we got to address it. So let's talk about this person right here, Valentina. She is this crazy fitness influencer, exercise gym junkie. Her videos are insane. Her exercise workouts are insane. If you just like scroll back on her page, you'll see many of her like workouts, and she's a pretty muscular, athletic, fit girl. She diets pretty hard. She's a very clean diet, really focusing on her macros and yada yada. A couple months ago, this is back in November, she all of a sudden came out with this video. And we were all like, what? Like, what just happened? And she said that she was diagnosed with a thyroid issue, and she got really, really sick, and she lost a ton of weight, and she lost a ton of muscle. And now when I saw this months ago, I was like, someone who exercises intensely and diets pretty hardcore is all of a sudden dealing with this thyroid and like metabolism issue? Hey, editing Chloe here. I just wanted to come on here and say one thing. I'm not diagnosing Valentina with anything. Certainly not an eating disorder. Certainly not a thyroid condition or anything. I'm not diagnosing her with anything. She is someone who, has gone through this big health journey, and only she and her doctors know what is going on, right? And there are a lot of other things that can cause someone to lose this much weight and, go through this whole process. She opened up that she went through, this thyroid issue and everything. It could be an autoimmune thing. It could be something, right? I'm not sure. I'm simply utilizing her as an example for what can happen though when we get our body to the point where it says no. And I'm just showcasing how someone who does exercise a ton, which I love exercising and I do exercise a ton, but like exercise that intensely, that much, and like eat super clean, how they can really be at high risk for something like this happening. I was talking with the Jills like 2 years ago, and I remember her being like, yeah, everything was fine until like I turned like, I think it was like 33, and she was like gonna go do this marathon, and her body just boom, flatline, stopped. She could not move, she could not get out of bed. She really, really just depleted her body so much that it finally was like, we're not doing this anymore. And so just saying that, like, okay, while I don't know what's happening and I don't want to claim to know what's happening, if someone came to me, with this issue of like, hey, I'm a big exerciser, I'm eating clean, and like now I'm having these thyroid issues, I'm just saying I would look into, hey, maybe, not saying that, exercising is bad, not saying that eating well is bad, but I'd say maybe we've overdone it a little bit, and maybe we've just maintained too low of a body fat percentage for too long. The body is just really, really not going to be happy here. But again, I'm not diagnosing her, and I'm not saying that. So this is just me just chit-chatting and kind of throwing some things out there, not for the sense of like, I want Valentina to watch this and be like, this is what I need to fix and change. Like, she's working with doctors, she's got it. But again, just kind of pointing out maybe some things in her mentality though, and which we will get to here in a bit, in her caption, that I was like, this just feels a little not off. It just feels like it would put someone who listens to this advice in a potentially dangerous situation where they could go into a low metabolic state or a hypothyroid state. I think I've said my piece. That's it. It only makes sense when we understand the metabolism and we understand the thyroid, why someone who took athleticism this far would end up, hitting a wall, bonking, and dealing with a lot of health issues. So I try and tell you guys all the time, I'm like, you may see these girls online who are athletic and fit, and you're thinking, I just want to be them, and they're so healthy, but it doesn't mean that they are. The amount of girls that I work with that have, mind you, hundreds of thousands of followers who are selling all of their exercise programs, who deal with amenorrhea and who are dealing with insane digestive issues and insane disordered relationships with food, like hundreds of girls that I've worked with are in that category. And you guys just see online and you go, wow, so fit, so healthy, like this is amazing. But again, you have no idea what they are actually going through. So why I, finally was like, today is the day that I'm creating content around this is because, I gotta rewatch it myself here. You're gonna be watching it here. She just came out with this video. How did I get here? And then she zooms in. Wait, we gotta pause. She zooms in on her stomach where you see, it took me a moment to see. Can you see it? A small, tiny amount of body fat around her midsection. And her whole thing was like, how did I, come to this from where I was months ago? And she shows a clip of her being extraordinarily lean, like very little body fat on her. And her caption says this: what happened? I've gained some fat since I got sick last year, November. I'm like, yes, some healing fat, because your body obviously could not stand being at that low of a body fat percentage. And while it's okay to go through these phases and be grateful for our bodies to endure so much, I want to address this as I got several questions from these pictures I posted on my stories. So interesting. While it's okay to go through these phases, kind of like, all right, the world's not ending, but this isn't where I want to be, right? This isn't the good place to be. It's okay to go through a phase. It's like, it's kind of like saying, oh, it's okay to be going through this, whatever, but we don't actually want to be there. So she's saying, I'm getting these questions of people saying, quote, I have the same issue with my abs. I don't know how to get rid of this. I'm like, what issue? What issue are we actually seriously talking about? What issue? Or they would ask, what is this? I have the same thing. What is this? Again, I'm like, who's asking this? I would actually love to see in the comments, who actually asked this of I have a tiny amount of body fat on my stomach too. What is this? ? Because God forbid a woman have a tiny bit of body fat on her abs. And she said, number one, this is what it is. Number one, you're eating too much. Cortisol stimulates your fat and carbohydrate metabolism, creating a surge of energy in your body. While this process is essential for your survival situations, it also increases your appetite. Or you simply don't know how much to eat according to your goal. This is something you can control. This is something you can control. And I hate how she phrased that. I hate how she said, this is something you can control. You can meticulously control your appetite and what you eat. And I'm like, if you see my other videos, you know I have a little tiff with that. Not going to go into it because it's going to make this video too long. Okay, she says then next, you're not exercising hard enough, consistent enough, or long enough to see any significant change. Okay, so she's pretty much saying, hi, the reason why I have this tiny amount of body fat in your midsection is because you are eating too much and not exercising enough. Where have we heard this before? Diet culture. It's so wrapped in it, right? Where I'm like, or maybe your body broke down because you didn't have enough body fat percentage, because you exercised too hard and didn't eat enough. Anyway, so then she goes on to say, take extreme ownership of your life. Take extreme ownership of your life. That's it. Take ownership of your desires and make them happen in a very slow but progressive habit-setting way. And then she goes, here's my Mother's Day sale for my programs, blah, 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 blah. just because I have a small amount of body fat, or even a large amount of body fat, doesn't mean that I'm not taking control of my life. In fact, I personally took control of my life by healing my addiction to exercise and getting out of my multiple eating disorders I was in and gaining that precious fat around my midsection. Do you know what that is? That's fertility. That means I can have a baby in a couple years. That means that my hormones are regulated, that I have a monthly pain-free menstrual cycle because of that body fat, that you were like, yeah, let's get rid of this. Let's exercise harder. Let's diet more. And I'm like, you just went through this insane illness. How are you even thinking about this right now? I haven't even looked at the comment section, but I feel like I should. This girl said, girl, what? What happened is most people's dream body. Sorry you had people comment on this as an quote unquote issue. Seems an awful level of nitpicking. This person said, what's the obsession with gaining abs? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, what's the obsession? Like getting back to that very lean kind of competition type body. What's the obsession with it? Like, what in your life is actually going to change when you're back at that? She said, I see both versions of you as skinny and extremely lean, but I just want to understand why you were not happy with the first picture of yourself. And maybe you are, but why do you want to have washboard abs so badly? Is it strength or just a look? This girl said, a while back, I read on a page on female hormones that women need a certain percentage of body fat more than men to have healthy hormonal balance. And she replies, no, it's not healthy with the extra fat since I've been eating in excess the past 5 months. I'm like, again, yeah, because you're healing. You need to be eating more, and you probably were really under eating, which is why you're eating more now. And I'm trying to get back on track, but I was much healthier in the leaner form. This is really hard because oftentimes when we are in this state of like over exercising and like strictly dieting, we can get these cortisol highs, or we can kind of get this addiction to lightness, and that's what actually feels really good. But I just think it's really interesting that she's like, no, it's not healthy with the extra fat. Like, it's not healthy. I've been eating in excess. I'm like, how much excess? Because you really, darling, did not gain that much weight. So how much excess are you eating, right? This person said, I barely see a difference, but I understand it must feel like it to you. Like it must feel like a lot to you. And isn't that what a lot of us go through? Like a lot of my clients, they're like, oh my gosh, I gained so much weight, and they're just like freaking out. And then I'm like, last time we checked, your dietitian said that you gained 4 pounds. Like, how is that a lot of weight, right? And yeah, I think we do tend to do this. We take it to the extreme when it's our own body. Like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like, she's like kind of in this energy right now of like, I'm feeling so out of shape. I'm feeling so like, body's been in excess for such a long time. For 5 months, it's been in this excess. And it's just like, you can see her struggle kind of come out here of like, and this isn't okay, and it's too much, and I just gotta get back to this. And again, how many of you are going through that where it's just like, you know, on to the outside eye, we're like, you barely changed. Like, you didn't really gain that much weight, right? Like, you have a small amount of body fat percentage of you now, but we can blow it up in huge proportions. As I was editing the video, I saw this comment and I thought this was great, and I just wanted to plop this on here. Very interesting story that I've been following along with, and I did do some remixes on Instagram, some just reels, kind of sharing my thoughts on this, but I'd love to know your thoughts on it. How has society's, standard of beauty and health now, it's like there's a standard of health you have to reach. How has that impacted you? And do you think it's starting to get a little bit crazy? Because I look at this and I go, this is crazy. This is like literally crazy that we would be calling that first photo of her like excess and too much and just fat and like my body's not healthy. And just a reminder that, health is more than your abs. Health is more than your body weight. Health is your metabolism and your thyroid and the overall state of health of your digestion and hormones and everything. So we put so much pressure on us needing to look a certain way when that doesn't necessarily always indicate health. So that's it from me today. I'd love to chit chat with you in my latest video over here. Probably find that one pretty interesting. I'll see you guys in my next video.